Remember Abram, who was later renamed Abraham?
Yes.
He was renamed Abraham because God gave him the title representing him as being the father of the faithful. Abraham was a man of faith.
That's right.
But although God named him as being the father of the faithful, Abraham had some trials and some tribulations.
Yes, yes.
Abraham had to go through some tests. God does try all of us. God determines whether or not we are faithful to His cause. I don't know about you, but I have made a commitment to God to be faithful.
Yes.
I promised Him that I would serve Him until I die.
Yes.
I have a lifelong commitment to God to be faithful. Come what will, come what may. I'm going to be faithful. Abram was promised that he would be the father of the faithful, that God was going to multiply his seed, and that his seed are the generations that will come through his being were going to be great. Abram, though, had one lifelong desire. Abram wanted someone to be the heir of the blessings that God bestowed upon him. Abram wanted a son. But the problem was Sarah, his wife, was barren. She was not able to have children. And when God promised Abram by saying to Abram, I am your sheep, and thou exceeding great reward. And Abram asked the Lord, what will you give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward in my house, Eliezer of Damascus, is the only one that is able to bear children. And behold, to me, I have no seed. I have no hand. And the one that is born in my house, it will become my hand. But the Lord told Abram, that was not my promise to you. My promise to you was that you would have a hand. The Lord had a conversation with Abraham. the manner of womanhood. And when Sarah heard the Lord make this announcement with her husband, Sarah standing in the tent door, listening. And when she heard the Lord say, Sarah shall have a child, Sarah laughed. But then I said, I want you to understand, she Too hard for God, because the songs of the prophets